So depending on when you are watching this video, we are currently just a few days out from Remix and our grand return to Chapter 2. However, at the moment we are in Chapter 5, a chapter with honestly a very mixed consensus. Some say it's their favorite chapter, bringing back a lot of Fortnite's original character, while others say it's their least favorite, taking a lot of it away and replacing it with something completely foreign. So today, I will be discussing this entire chapter, first talking about the map, then giving some of my rough thoughts and the general cliff notes on each season, and finally reviewing the overall chapter to determine how good or bad it actually was. Because I can tell you for sure that it definitely wasn't the worst. That was Chapter 4, and I stand by that. Yeah, boo me in the comments, see if I care. So just make sure to like the video and sub.
Holy crap! Fortnite commentary YouTuber XRTraz?
What's up, Peter?
What the hell are you doing here?
Well, Peter, I just came here to inform you and the people watching at home that 89% of people who watch my videos are not subscribed.
What? Only 11% of people who watch your videos are subscribed?
That's right, Peter. And by subscribing right now, we can change this. Do you have anything that could help us get people to subscribe, Peter?
Of course. I know just what to do.
Quick, to the Peter Copter!
Also, make sure to use code XRTraz in the Fortnite item shop. I'd also recommend getting a snack or a drink for this video because it's gonna be pretty long. So, let's begin, I guess.
Holy crap! Donald Trump!
Hello, Peter. Welcome to Fortnite.
Oh boy, the map. Yeah, I'm starting off negative here, but this is the worst map we've ever had. Despite Chapter 2 looking like someone pooped all over it in the end and having an overall lack of biome variety, the shape of it and general locations were pretty damn good. This map, on the other hand... I mean, number one, it looks like a Donald Trump side profile. Number two, when it launched, all the locations were in a sort of Venetian and Greek style, with the only exception being one of my favorite named locations of the chapter, Classy Courts, rest in peace. Sure, it did get better over time, and the locations are pretty good now, but the overall format of the map is awful. I hate this ravine right here. Even without the water, still butt cheeks. This area coming right out of Freaky Fields, awful. And then whatever the hell this is, which was where Darth Vader was? And finally, number 3, the art style. I mean, Chapter 4 was probably the most beautiful this game has looked. I mean, it balanced cartoony and realistic so goddamn well, and now it just feels too realistic. Alright, enough yapping about the map. Let's go on to the seasons.
Low taper fade. You know what's crazy is that low taper fade like meme is, dude, it is still massive.
Yeah.
Massive.
So we open up the chapter with Underground, our first season of the chapter. Battle Pass is a 9 out of 10, one of the best we've ever gotten. I think every single skin in this pass besides Montague is a banger. Hope, Oscar, Nisha, Underground Jones, and Valeria are all awesome skins. And of course, we had our 2 collab skins, Solid Snake and Peter Griffin. I also really like the car we had in the Battle Pass, and I wish we kept getting cars in every season's Battle Pass. Items this season were This is when mods were introduced, and it just made everything pretty mid. Sure, there was a lot more variety in customizing your weapons to fit your playstyle, but it's just so limited, and mod benches should be at every POI, not just Volts and Loot Island. By the way, I'm just gonna mention here that I'm not gonna talk about every item added in this season, just the 5 most relevant items to my experience with this season, because if I talked about every single item in this season, we'd be here all day. So first up is my favorite weapon in the game, the Hammer Pump Shotgun. This gun is super awesome. I mean, it shoots people, it deals 0 damage, and it's butt cheeks. What more could you ask for? And by the way, I lied, and it's actually my least favorite weapon in this game. This thing needs to be completely removed from the game. I don't even want to see it in creative. Then we got the Frenzy Auto Shotgun. This thing during this first season was crazy, especially the mythic version. It was like an auto win if you got this thing. Very overpowered and one of the most memorable items of the season and even the entire chapter. Also in this season is the Reaper Sniper Rifle. This was the spawn of Satan during this season, absolutely terrorizing players with how OP it was due to the moddable scope and magazine, and also the ability to make it have 0 recoil, which is crazy. This thing was busted. I mean, powerful and accurate, and if you get a headshot with it, you auto kill people. 3 shots in the magazine, 5 of which you use drum mag. This thing is so fun to use, but it was infuriating to go against. We also got Flowberry Fizz this season. Love this thing, and my favorite healing item right next to Med Mist. I really hope it stays around next chapter. We also have the season season's mobility item, the grapple blade. Yeah, this was probably this chapter's worst mobility item. I didn't really like this item and barely even used it. I think I just used as shockwave grenades instead. And finally, for items, the riot shield. This thing gives me Vietnam flashbacks. Extremely traumatic, and I will not say anything else other than I hate going against this thing. Thank God they removed it. Boss medallions were also added this season, awarding you shield that regenerates for picking them up, and you can pretty much regenerate full shield if you get them all. However, it does track your location. Next up, well, the locations. Not much to talk about here, kinda mid. Kinda already covered it in the map section, Classy Quartz's Peak, and Lavish Lair is cool from this season. Then the mini event. It was awesome to see live events return, and this was just a community event to damage the chains and open Pandora's box to tease the next season. Finally, we have to cover the changes this season made, and by this season, I mean the chapter. We can climb up builds, pretty cool. Mods, we already talked about, just kinda okay. And the complete change to movement. Yeah, we got new animations with the chapter, which of course people weren't happy about. It even led to the doxing of the guy who made the animations when the actual issue with it was the movement speed. Luckily, they changed back the movement speed, but it was definitely one of the most Fortnite community moments of all time. Also, another really small, insignificant change made was, you know, the removal of hit scan for bullet drop. We can argue about this all day, but bullet drop is worse than hit scan. Hit scan better come back next chapter. It's just too peak. We also had the introduction of the metaverse modes of Fortnite Festival, Lego Fortnite, and Rocket Racing. And that's all I'm saying on those modes because they aren't related to Chapter 5 Battle Royale. And finally, the last change. There are now only two types of cars, SUV and sports car. This was a change made so there could be customizable cars in the game. I really like this change just because of the collaboration potential. You know you want to drive around Fortnite and Lightning McQueen. Finally, here we have our mid-season event, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This was a great mini event, adding an honestly better mobility item than the chapter's mobility item in the Turtles' weapons. The mini pass included 2 Shredder skins as its rewards, and it was overall pretty sweet. I love the Turtle Cave as a landmark. Overall, pretty solid starting season. Gonna give it a 6.8 out of 10. Despite that Winterfest drought that we had and the horrible item shops, it was pretty alright. Alright, now let's talk about my least favorite season of the chapter. Yeah, Season 2 Myths and Mortals was definitely my least favorite of the chapter. I mean, I didn't even get all the super styles for it. I love the theme of this season, but I just really didn't like the vibes or the new things that were added. First up, the Battle Pass. This was a great themed Battle Pass with different characters from Greek mythology. Probably a 7.5 out of 10, just because I didn't really enjoy some of the skins such as Poseidon. Wish it was more human, and it could have looked really epic. Zeus's design was also a little bit weird, and I wish we got Aphrodite's concept art version. However, the peakness of Artemis, Hades, and Cerberus offset all of it. These skins are fantastic, especially Artemis. Love her galaxy themed clothes. Aphrodite's immortal style was also pretty good. Korra was a cool bonus skin, but I mean, I wish it was something else. Next, the season's items. Yeah, I'm just gonna talk about all of them. Huntress DMR. I hate this thing. However, the Warforged assault rifle was pretty good, and the Gatekeeper shotgun, well, it's still the best shotgun in the chapter ever since it's been added. We also got Zeus's Thunderbolt, which was very, very, very annoying. And now the mobility item, Icarus's wings. These were cool at the start of the season, but they ended up as just pretty trash, and you can shoot people out of the sky pretty easily with them. Chain of Hades was also pretty fun. It felt a lot like Roadhog's hook from Overwatch to me, and then the Banana of the Gods. Just a better medkit and pretty alright overall. Medallions were also in the season. They now just give you buffs instead of regenerating shields. Now the mid-season collab with Mini Pass, Avatar: The Last Airbender. This was awesome. Loved all the collab skins, the Aang mini pass was great, and the items were tons of fun. You had airbending, a much better mobility item than the wings, earthbending and firebending, which were pretty much useless, and then waterbending. Oh boy, waterbending. This is why this is my least favorite season. It was miserable to have to go against this. Sure, it was cool to use, but you get absolutely creamed by it, and it sucks. It's literally a shotgun and AR in one weapon. How is that fair? And the fact we had it in game for like like 3/4 of the season is miserable. Midas's Revenge was another event we had during this season, a pretty cool event with an alright Midas reskin. I'm glad they added back the floor's lava as a part of it though. But unfortunately, the return of the drum gun with this event was pretty mid. Next, we got the map. 4 new locations and 2 new biomes is pretty cool. Love the underworld and its locations. Grimgate and the underworld are really awesomely themed. However, the Olympus biome was incredibly mid. Though it looks beautiful, I really prefer the underworld and its locations overall. I like that 2 new biomes were added in just one season, and it added a lot of variety and spice to an otherwise very dull looking map. However, it didn't really solve any of the theming issues that the map already had, as it just added more Greek to it. We also got Restored Rios, which is probably my favorite location of the entire chapter, next to Classy Courts. I really like how it went from Ruined Rios to Restored Rios. Pretty sick change. We also got a pretty small change of, the removal of cosmetic rarities. Yeah, this change is dookie, and it should be reversed. I don't know what compelled them to do this, most likely so they can just price cosmetics based on how expensive it was to make them or something like that. I don't know. We also got the roadmap leak during the season, and I think it's safe to say that for the foreseeable future, it was Fortnite's biggest leak in its entire 7-year-long history. Next here is the mini event. The smiting of Pandora's box was really cool, and the unveiling of the sandstorm was killer. Pretty sick event, and I think it was better than Season 1's. Finally, we also had a mini Star Wars May the 4th event at the end of the season. And yeah, it was lame. Only Darth Vader's lightsaber was re-released, alongside the Star Wars guns. Kinda lame, especially considering last year was probably our best May the 4th event ever. Overall, this season gets a 6.4 out of 10. Even though it's my least favorite, it still added a lot to the game, and it was beautifully themed. The Avatar event was great, and I love how the pattern of biome variety started with this season. However, I didn't like some of the items, Huntress DMR and waterbending, and the game didn't feel that fun to me to play.
Man, this has some pickup to it. It's not the best at turning. Oh, is this a turn right here? Shoot, crap. Everyone hang on, I'm sorry, I love you. I love you so much, I'm so sorry.
Now we get to Season 3, Wrecked. You either love this one or hate it. I'll let you know which one I fall under at the end. Might have changed from last season. I don't know. So first up here is the Battle Pass. I'll be straight up with you, this is probably my least favorite of the chapter. Sure, it gave us T-60 Power Armor, Machinist, Megalodon, and Magneto, but the other skins in this pass, I just really didn't like at all. Probably a 6.5 out of 10 for this pass. The map also got a sort of wasteland biome with cacti that restore your health and shield, new locations that include the Leviathan, Redline Rig, and the Nitrodrome. These are really creative locations, but outside the season are kinda dead. I do think that Nitrodrome was a really good location, but it kind of fell off without Ringmaster Scar there. To go along with a car-themed apocalyptic season, there were also mythic cars, which were overpowered at the start, and you ended every single match with 3 people in these cars that can regenerate health. Thankfully, they removed their health regenerating features. But on the topic of cars, car mods were added with this season, and also removed with the end of it, as well as car getting increased fuel and spawns. So the meta of the season was cars. Lovely. Look, I don't really care for the car meta, as I prefer actually, shooting people. In game, of course. Now, the new items this season, I'll just talk about 3 of them here. We got the combat shotgun during the season, and it was pretty damn good. We also got Nitro, which was a great consumable to have, giving you infinite sprint, and at least at the beginning of the season, the ability to break through walls. And then the Nitro Fist. Probably my favorite new mobility item of the chapter. It's just so much fun to use. You can get around really quick, and they're really damn powerful. Finally, the Magneto powers. This, alongside the fists, were the meta of the season, and put together, it's completely overpowered. Our mid-season collaboration with Minipass for this season was Pirates of the Caribbean. Jack Sparrow in the Minipass was awesome, and it was really cool how it added an entire new POI in the middle of the map. Ship in a Bottle was pretty cool, but otherwise useless in a meta with Nitro Fist, Magneto powers, and cars. We also saw the introduction of Reload in the middle of this season, one of the best additions to this game, just a year-long OG, but with respawns. Respawns are sometimes annoying, but it does make for an overall fun and fast-paced mode. And of course, at the end of the season, the change was announced that battle passes were no longer exclusive and could be re-released in the item shop. Now, I do think this is a good thing, so everyone can obtain the skins they want from any battle pass in the future, but there are definitely some in the community who would say otherwise. Finally, let's move on to the event. Redline Rig exploded with a nuclear mushroom cloud revealing Pandora's box. Probably my second least favorite of the mini events in this chapter. I like this one better than Season 1's, but Season 2's is better in my opinion. I know previously I said that this season was a 6.5 out of 10, but did I? All jokes aside, I feel that the original ranking was way too harsh, and in general, I did like the season. I guess I just didn't realize how much I love this game with Nitro and Nitro Fist until I had them taken away from me. So 7 out of 10, bumping it up half a point from my original rating at the end of the season. Cars were awful here, but I mean, it was part of the season. And compared to last year's Chapter 4 Season 3, this was nowhere near as bad, and it was actually pretty good. Now on to Season 4, our second Marvel season, titled Absolute Doom. We gotta start with the battle pass here. I know I absolutely glazed the hell out of this pass in that original season review video at the start of the season, but honestly there were only 3 skins I'll probably consistently use for this pass: Gwenpool, Iron Patriot, War Machine, and Mysterio. Besides that, this pass is alright, I guess. I mean, you can't top the last Marvel season with Wolverine, Thor, and Iron Man, but this season's battle pass was pretty neat overall. Besides the mashups, of course, which absolutely wasted 2 spots. Overall, 7 out of 10, I guess. I still prefer Season 1 and 2's over this one. Next, the new POIs. Doomstot, Doom's Courtyard, Castle Doom, and the Raft were our new POIs at the start of the season. Besides Doom's Courtyard being a downgrade in my opinion, the other 3 are great, and some of the most beautiful POIs in the game. We also got 2 new POIs in Fortnite Mares: Brawler's Patch and the GOAT, Freaky Fields. One thing you guys should know about me is that the farm POIs have historically been my favorite, and this one, although probably being my least favorite, is still pretty cool, and has the best name ever. Brawler's Patch is mid. Let's move on to weapons. Monarch Pistol got ruined, pretty upset about that. In like the second week of the season when it got a buff, on top of it already being pretty crazy, it was my favorite gun in the game, no questions asked. The Sovereign Shotgun is still outclassed by the Gatekeeper as well, and the dual Uzis are pretty cool. And now the Marvel items. Cap Shield got nerfed, and is at least fair to play against now. War Machine items got nerfed into the ground, with the jetpacks even being removed in Fortnite Mares. Doom's Gauntlets were alright, probably my favorite Marvel item to use. And then we have the Shuri's Claws, which I don't like all too much. They're cool to move faster in, but it feels a bit too slow and weak while attacking, at least in my opinion. Finally, the Iron Man items. Yeah, these are overpowered. Gauntlets got nerfed, of course, but the flight gear is awesome. I love flying around Fortnite like Iron Man. Fortnite Mares also added 2 new items: chainsaws and billy bombs. Chainsaws are pretty fun to play with and have great mobility and animations. The billy bombs are cool, I guess, just seeking out people when thrown and then exploding. Finally, the event. We had a live raid boss fight sort of event with the Dr. Doom fight. I thought it was pretty neat, but overall, it felt pretty anticlimactic. I mean, how did we defeat Doom if he defeated like every Marvel hero in the universe? Overall, this season was pretty fun and pretty damn good. Not absolute peak like some YouTuber had in their thumbnail. I don't know who that is. Definitely not me. And with Fortnite Mares at the end of the season, which was our best ever, this season is a 7.8 out of 10, at least in my opinion.
It's called Grunkle Stunkle wins the Funkle Bunkle.
Alright, so my ranking for this chapter goes something like this. Favorite is Season 4, then Season 3, Season 1, and finally Season 2. Overall, the chapter was pretty solid. Seasons had great theming, the items were fun, mobility was great, and not even talking about the skins and collabs we got during this chapter. Even though the seasons we got were overall pretty strong, this chapter was overall held back by the changes the launch of the chapter made to the game as a whole. The map is pretty bad, though having a variety of pretty good and beautifully designed locations, I just really do not like its layout. Hit scan being removed was awful. It's part of Fortnite's identity to have cartoony guns, not realistic guns. And overall, this game just looks really dull compared to previous chapters. Fortnite is a cartoony game, and it should reflect that. Chapter 4, despite being my least favorite chapter, had a pretty damn good balance between realistic and cartoony in my opinion. It was colorful, yet it kept some realism within it. Chapter 5 just looks realistic and is lacking color. Overall, I'm just gonna give this chapter a 6.2 out of 10. It's definitely not the worst. Chapter 4 has that title with a 5.5 out of 10 in my opinion. But unfortunately, despite how fun this chapter's seasons were, I just can't get over Fortnite's changed identity during this chapter and its god-awful map. It does make me wonder though, because chapter 4 has everything I want in Fortnite from a visual perspective, map perspective, and hit scan, but chapter 5 has everything else. I wish these two chapters could combine these positive properties, and I think the result would have been a chapter that could have rivaled even chapter 2.
The weather outside is rizzy, but the fire is so skibidi. And since I've got to go, Ohio, Ohio, Ohio.
Overall, this chapter was pretty decent. An improvement from last chapter from numerous perspectives, and if Fortnite can make the right revisions, I think chapter 6 could be even better than chapter 5. My hopes are high for chapter 6. As to me, it feels Fortnite was very experimental this chapter. The mini events that were reintroduced this chapter kept getting more and more expansive. They tested out different metas with cars, tried out bullet drop instead of hit scan, and even tried out bigger, more expansive seasonal events with this year's Fortnitemares, which is honestly our best ever. Though not all their tests were well received, it does set up Fortnite to get more experimental and try new things in future seasons and chapters. And honestly, that's pretty exciting. But what do you guys think? Do you think this chapter is the best ever, or do you think it's the worst ever? Leave your thoughts in the comments. I hope you guys enjoyed this long as hell video, and to compensate for how much time I spent on making this video, please, for the love of God and all things holy, like and subscribe and use code EXTRATRAS in the Fortnite item shop. See ya.